Hi everyone, I'm Islam and we are from Quality Capsule. Today we are diving into ISO 90001 2015 to explore one of its cornerstone practices, which is internal auditing. This isn't just about compliance, as we all of us know. It is about driving a continuous improvement within your organization. So let's jump right in. As a start, internal auditing is vital for organizations aiming to uphold ISO 90001 standard and improve their processes. So during these audits, what auditor will do? They systematically look for evidence of compliance and effectiveness in meeting standards and of course identifying areas for enhancement. During audits, it is common to uncover nonconformities, which is the main purpose for you, which are instances where processes don't meet ISO requirement. And I need you to remember always that these aren't just about assigning blame. When nonconformities are found, they are treated as a system issues rather than personal ones. Now, let's delve into a specific requirement of internal auditing as per ISO 90001. Firstly, internal audits must be conducted at planned interval. These audits are never a surprise. They should be scheduled in advance, ensuring that all relevant processes and requirements are thoroughly reviewed. And here there are two essential tools that you will need for planning audits, which is audit schedule and audit plan. And by the time ISO auditor will ask for them during the certification process. So let's start with the audit schedule. The schedule outlines audits over extended period of time, typically 6 months to a year. It is available to all applicable personnel and of course it is subject to revision as circumstances changes. And here we will talk more about the types of the issue that can trigger the change in the audit schedule later. While the audit plan details the specific audit information, such as scope, objectives, and who will be involved, what area will be covered, and when this will be happening, and anything else that will clarify the activity. The audit plan is provided to the auditee in advance of the audit. We mentioned it is not a surprise, and it serves as a roadmap for what take place, like the schedule, and also it is subject to revision. Now, let's talk about audit frequency. ISO 90001 doesn't prescribe a specific audit frequencies for you, but a common practice is to audit all your processes within your management system at least once a year. This will ensure a comprehensive coverage and compliance. A key point here is that during the audit, it is necessary to tailor them to a specific requirement of each department, as not all ISO requirement or element will apply universally to all of your departments. So here, understanding departmental needs is integral to the effective auditing. Now, let's discuss determine conformance to the organizational requirement. Internal auditor also assess whether the system conform to the organization's own requirement or not. These are policies, procedures, work instructions, checklists, or other department or other document that tailor to meet a specific process and product need. And here, auditors who are being familiar with these internal frameworks are well equipped to evaluate their adherence during the audit. For instance, if your organization has a specific checklist for product inspection or a detailed work instruction for assembly, auditors here would verify compliance with these internal standards. In addition, auditor must ensure conformity to ISO 90001 2015 itself. This involves understanding and applying the standard criteria to your organizational operations. This can be pretty challenging here without a clear understanding of the standard requirement itself. That's why a through auditing training and continuous education are important. Auditor need to know how ISO apply to their daily operations to effectively assess the compliance. Lastly, auditor determine whether the system is effectively implemented and maintained or not, as meeting ISO 90001 requirement isn't enough here. It is a fundamental to achieve objectives, satisfy customers, and continually improve. These factors scale the effectiveness of the quality management system in your organization. So, for instance, if an auditor reveals that customer satisfaction score has constantly improved since implementing a new quality measures, it indicates the system effectiveness. Now, let's talk about the internal audit program. Planning, establishing, implementing, and maintaining an audit program is vital for any organization aiming to comply with ISO 90001 requirement. While the standard again doesn't explicitly require a documented procedure, it is highly recommended, as we mentioned along the course, to have one. So, creating a written procedure for the internal audit itself is a great idea that you need to apply. As simply, it serves as a guidebook for how audits are conducted, ensuring consistency and clarity. A written audit program will outline how you plan, conduct, report, and record the audit itself. It also specifies who performs these activities, making the audit process transparent and systematic. And given that auditing drive continuous improvement, having a clear procedure is essential, of course. And here, some key elements that are typically addressed in your internal audit procedure. First, who maintains the audit schedule? All of us know that it is important to assign this responsibility. This will ensure that audits are conducted at planned interval. Next, we have training requirement for the internal auditor. Auditors, as we mentioned, must be well trained to effectively assess the compliance and identify areas for improvement. Also, how audits are planned and who conducts the plan itself. Clear communication of the audit plan is essential for smooth audit process. And also, don't forget how evidence is gathered. Auditors here needs a guidelines on collecting relevant and sufficient evidence. Also, all should understand guidelines for what constitutes a nonconformity itself. This will help to ensure consistency in identifying and reporting the issue. Moving to formal reporting requirement. These detailed reports help document finding and tracking the corrective action. Also, corrective actions on audit nonconformities are also considered prompt and effective. Corrective action are important for continuous improvement, and this need a follow-up on these corrective actions, which is matter also as it will ensure the effectiveness. So verifying that corrective action are effective to prevent recurrence of the issues. Lastly, review of the audit result in management review. This will ensure that your top management is aware of the audit findings and can take strategic actions to help the organization. And here, ISO 90001 states that your audit program should consider the importance of processes, changes affecting your organization, and the result of the previous audits. This means that your audit schedule shouldn't be static and ensure that your audit program remain relevant and effective. So firstly, consider the importance of the process. More critical processes will be audited more frequently. It is a common sense here because they have a bigger impact on your success. Auditing these processes will ensure that improvements are made where they matter most and help prevent a potential issues. Some of the universally important procedures here will include management review, corrective action, internal auditing itself, actions to address the risk and opportunities, operational planning and control, and finally, quality objectives. Next, ISO require you to consider changes affecting your organization. Significant change, as we mentioned, such as high employee turnover or losing a major customer. This will influence your audit focus. For instance, increasing these turnovers might lead to a more frequent audit in areas like competence and awareness, while losing a customer might increase the audit in customer satisfaction part. Finally, the result of previous audit are very important. If a process performed poorly in an audit, it will be audited more frequently to support its improvement. This will ensure that audit resources are directed where they are most needed, driving a continuous improvement across your organization. An essential part of internal audit under ISO 90001 is defining the audit criteria and the scope for each audit. Audit criteria specifies what you are auditing against. Typically, this will include ISO 90001 requirement, the required documented management system, and applicable customer requirement. Where the audit scope, on the other hand, outlines the departments, functions, and processes being audited, setting the boundaries for the audit itself. For example, the criteria might be ISO 90001 standard and company procedure, while the scope should be coding, order taking, and scheduling functions at Google Reception Office. These are clearly defined on the audit plan. Now, let's talk about objectivity. Ensuring objectivity and impartiality in audit also matter here. This means avoiding assigning auditors to areas where they can't clearly evaluate the evidence. A common source of a bias will include a bad relations, deep friendships between the auditor and the auditee, or the auditor auditing their own department. So, here to maintain objectivity, it is important to have enough internal auditors, train a team of an auditor every 12 to 18 months, and build a strong association of auditors in your organization. This will ensure a large, diverse group of auditors to choose from, minimizing bias and maintain impartiality. One of the most important aspects of internal auditing is reporting the result to the management. This communication occurs both verbally and visually, of course, during a closing meeting and in writing through the audit report. Results are also typically shared informally with applicable manager during the audit process. Remember here, effective communication is vital for the success of your QMS, so ensuring that the audit results are understood and acted upon. It is a lifeblood of your auditing process, driving a continuous improvement and organizational success. And also, it is a common sense here that ISO requires that nonconformities lead to a corrective action. This is a straightforward principle. Audit nonconformity equals corrective action. So we have a simple rule here. Every nonconformity identified in your audit necessitates a corrective actions. No exception here. If your corrective action process makes this unwieldy or difficult, it is a good idea to revisit your corrective action procedure. So, what is the difference between correction and corrective action? Here, the standard states that to take appropriate correction and corrective actions without undue delay, emphasizing that both are necessary. As all of us know that both are different. So correction means an immediate action to eliminate a detected nonconformity. It addresses the symptom of the problem without necessarily addressing the root cause. For example, replacing a broken component in a machine to get it running again. On the other hand, corrective action is a systematic process to identify and eliminate the root cause of a detected nonconformity, preventing its reoccurrence in the future. For instance, conducting a thorough investigation to understand why machine component failed, why it is broken, and making a change to design or maintenance schedule to prevent this from reoccurring in the future. Another point here also is that in ISO 90001, the phrase without undue delay means that starting corrective action promptly after the audit, basically initiating the corrective action within a week, is reasonable for you. However, the duration to complete corrective action varies based on the complexity of the issue. Some might be resolved within a day, others may take months. Now, we reach to the goal of the corrective action. In the realm of internal audits, it is critical to focus on a lasting and effective corrective actions rather than just a quick fix. Why is that? Because quick fix might solve the problem temporarily, but they don't address the root cause. That's why ISO want correction and corrective actions. However, when it comes to the issue impacting your employee health and safety, both effective and fast corrective action are essential. Also, ISO emphasizes the importance of retaining a documented information of your audit program and, of course, its results. But what does this really mean for you? It means keeping records that demonstrate your audit planning, who was involved, the evidence gathered, and both positive and negative findings revealed by the audit, including the result of corrective actions. So, what are these records? Here we have typical records that are important for internal audits. Corrective actions. These documents show nonconformities found during the audit, the cause, action taken, and follow up. Then we have audit notes or checklists. They are the proof that the audit took place and evidence collected. If your organization maintain an audit plan and reports, these notes might not be necessary for you. We have also records of auditor training. Ensuring auditors have meet competency requirements, these should be kept with other training record, of course. Although some record might not be required by ISO, you should strongly considering maintain them like your audit report. Again, while not mandatory, they provide a balanced view of the audit and help your top management to digest the results. Also, audit plan, it will give you a detailed hour by hour agenda for the audits, guiding the performance by specifying who will do what and when it will be done. Now, what about auditing follow up? Here, ISO doesn't specifically address it, but it is strongly recommended. Follow up here involves verifying the action taken post audit and whether they achieved the intended results or not. This can be often a part of the corrective action, but many organizations use the internal audit to verify these details. One way or another, the final step in the audit process is verifying that the management took actions on the audit nonconformities. But when you are verifying the corrective action on the audit nonconformities, I need you to look for, do the action relate to the identified causes? Have all actions been completed? Are relevant documents revised or written? Was the training completed? If it was a part of the corrective action or not? Is there an evidence that the cause of nonconformity has been removed? or reduced to acceptable level. Another point here is that as a part of the follow up, I need you to record the result of the actions taken. Be clear about what was achieved. If a corrective actions appears ineffective or incomplete, resubmit it to the management for further investigation and actions, of course. Finally, remember that the audit result feed into your management review along with the corrective action. The more graphic and strategic your audit result, the more likely they will capture the attention of your top management. Now, we have a real survey questions that you might be asked. Pause the screen, have a look, and try to answer them in the comment section below. At the end of this session, remember that effective and lasting internal audit with a corrective actions are the key to maintaining a robust quality management system. If you found this video helpful, please share the course with your peers. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in next time.